The Western States 100 is next weekend, and I could not be more excited. I don't know if I'll make it to the race this year, but I'm certainly going to be staring at my phone all day as everything goes down. Every year, I Run Far holds a prediction contest for Western States, and it's become a tradition to share my picks. This is going to be a slightly unusual one, as many of these participants haven't done a lot of racing in the past year, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. So with that, here are my predictions for the top 5 men and women at the Western States 100 next weekend, beginning with the men. In 5th place, I've picked the returning 7th place finisher from 2019, Stephen Kirsch. So Kirsch showed in 2019 that he could handle the Western States course, even as a first-timer. He's dealt with some health issues in recent years, but proved at the JFK 50 miler last November that he was in top form. He finished second to Hayden Hawks in 5:27, which is lightning fast on that course, and if I'm not mistaken, only Hayden Hawks and Jim Walmsley have run faster. In 4th place, I'm calling a repeat from 2019 and picking Matt Daniels. Daniels clearly has the leg speed of a strong runner, having run a 4-minute mile many years ago. That does not indicate success at Western States, but his dominant win at Black Canyon in 2019 and his strong run at Western States that year indicate he's a pretty good pick. And he has a killer mustache, so he is my 4th place pick. In 3rd place, I'm picking a guy who seems to get 3rd place often, and going with Tim Tollefson. He's finished 3rd place at UTMB a few times, and he won the COVID-altered Javelin 100 last year. I recall hearing on a podcast a few years ago that Tim had no interest in Western States and was more interested in the Alpine races, but I'm very pleased to see he's changed his mind on this one. Tim is an incredibly smart and talented ultra runner, and even though first-timers don't always do well at Western States, I think Tim is going to be an exception. There's really only 2 people that I can put in the top 2, and upon this next pick, it will be obvious who I'm picking to win the race, but for 2nd place, I'm going with Jared Hazen. So last year, Jared Hazen was the only runner to genuinely try to beat Jim Walmsley outright. He was a few minutes behind all day and eventually finished 17 minutes back. As a community, I think we all undervalue Jared Hazen. If not for Jim, Jared Hazen would easily be the best ultra runner to run the Western States 100 course. He also has a history here, having finished 3rd as a 20-year-old in 2015 and 14th the year before that, where he famously sold his buckle on eBay because he was working at Subway or something and needed the money. Either way, Jared Hazen is an amazing pick, and I think he'll finish in 2nd place. My pick to win the Western States 100 is going to surprise nobody. I'm picking Jim Walmsley for 1st place. You just cannot bet against Jim at the Western States 100 anymore. He had a few hiccups in 2016 and 2017, but in the previous races he's shown he is all but untouchable at the Western States 100. I guarantee just about everybody in the Western States field will be sitting back and hoping for a catastrophe from Jim, having no chance of actually chasing him down. The only exception to that, I think, is Jared Hazen. So finally, I have to give an honorable mention because I know that I'm going to get comments about this. I have to mention Hayden Hawks. He did best Jim's course record at the JFK 50 mile last November, and as far as I'm aware, he's the only one to actually take back one of Jim's course records throughout Jim's 5-year reign of terror. Still, I didn't pick Hayden because he isn't incredibly consistent. He dropped out of the Hoka Carbon X2 event, and he's DNF'd at several races in recent years. Western States is a difficult event to get right on the first try, which is why I'm not betting on a striking success from Hayden, although I'd love to be proven wrong. So those are all my picks for the men, and now I'm on to the women. The women's field is much more complicated, with a lot of international athletes coming in. Still, there are a few regulars who I'll get to, but here are my top 5 picks for the women's race at next weekend's Western States 100. In 5th place, I'm going with the Western States regular and picking Casey Lichtai. Casey won the race in 2016 and finished 3rd the last time they did the race, back in 2019. At this point, it's quite clear that Casey loves this race and will show up whenever she has an opportunity. She struggled with injuries a bit as of late, but appears to be healthy now, so I'm keeping her as my 5th place pick. In 4th place, I'm going with last year's runner-up, Brittany Peterson. In 2019, Peterson spurred on some of the biggest drama at Western States in recent years by catching up to and running side-by-side with eventual winner Claire Gallagher at mile 94.5. I'm not sure what she's been up to this last year, but solely based on her stunning performance in 2019, I'm putting her in 4th place. So in 3rd, I'm going with an international runner and choosing Ruth Croft from New Zealand. While I might be a little partial to the Kiwis, Ruth Croft has absolutely dominated several races in the Golden Trail Series, which are shorter races. She hasn't run a lot of really long races, but she did win the Tarawera 100K in her home country outright, beating all the men as well. And while she's probably not naturally very heat adapted, she is from the west coast of New Zealand, which guarantees she's tough as nails. In 2nd place, I'm going with another international athlete and picking the British athlete Beth Pascal. Pascal finished 4th last year, showing she can run the Western States course quite well. But perhaps more impressively, she put on a clinic at the Canyons 100K this year, which is on the Western States course, dominating that race. I believe she finished in the top 10 overall, and she's been spending a lot of time in the United States in recent months. And she seems to be fairly enthusiastic about the Western States 100, so she's my second place pick. So finally, for first place, I have to go with Claire Gallagher. I don't know what she's been up to in the past year other than a short tune-up race recently, but I can't neglect her win in 2019 where she ran the second fastest time ever. I don't know if she's in the same form, but I find it all but impossible to bet against her. Alright, those are my picks. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with them. I truly enjoy this spirited debate every year, and I cannot wait to see what you guys think and hear your comments and chat with you guys below. So feel free to leave a comment. I'm really looking forward to next week's race. The fourth Saturday in June is called Statesmas for a reason. It is my favorite day of the year, and I cannot wait to see how it all plays out. That's all. Thanks for watching.